Hello everyone, this is Trophy Wine Hunter. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm doing a review of a champagne. So it's a half bottle, which I've had in my cellar. It's the Pierre Paillard 2017 champagne. So I guess this is a vintage champagne. Pierre Paillard is actually a long established champagne house in the Bouzy region in the Montagne de Reims region. So Montagne de Reims is one of the 4 sub-regions of the Champagne, and Bouzy is a village. And so this winery has been around for around 200 years, and it's now maintained by the 8th generation people, which are Antoine and Quentin Paillard. It holds about 11 hectares of land in Bouzy, and they make different champagnes, and I guess just starting recently they're doing more single vineyard champagne, and so this is one of their original single vineyard champagnes, which is called Le Parcelles, and so it is a single cru or single village in Bouzy. The planting of this particular vineyard is 60% Pinot Noir, 40% Chardonnay. If you watch my video on my basic primer for champagne, champagnes have to be minimum, vintage champagne has to be minimum aged in bottle 3 years, and most champagne houses do more than that, and in this situation it's 4 years in bottle. When we're talking about 4 years in bottle, it doesn't really age in the way that we think of it, because it's still on lees. So what you take from that is like you actually, so this 2017, 4 years on lees, and then that's 2021. So essentially now that I'm drinking it, it's been aged around 2 years. Kind of that's how I calculate the aging of champagne. So here are the different components of the champagne bottle. So first you'll see the top of this. This is the top cap. Nice design, a little sleek. Then this actually the cork, which is quite small actually, but maybe that's the way it goes with half bottles. So this is Pierre Paillard. It's established since 1799. Le Parcelles, Bouzy, Grand Cru. And then 2017 from Montagne de Reims region. And you'll see it says extra brut, which means extra dry. What I like, and they were one of the first, I believe, that did this in Champagne, is they actually say the base wine is 2017, 70% Pinot Noir, 30% Chardonnay. They actually put down when it was disgorged, which was June of 2020, which lets you know it's kind of a fairly new wine. So from my perspective, that disgorgement date is important. That 2020 probably you count the aging of the wine from that date. And I believe there's alcohol content 12.5%. Let's view the look of this. Again, the bubbles are not as consistent with the glass that I'm using compared to a flute, but that doesn't bother me. Again, if you want to impress people or you want to get the occasion, maybe you'll use flutes, but I'm fine with this. I actually prefer to drink champagne in kind of a white wine type glass. So color is on camera. Again, this lighting is kind of funny for looking at color, but I would say it's kind of slightly orangey yellow compared to other champagnes. Let's taste the champagne. I will let you know I've had this open for a couple of hours now. I did put it back in the fridge. I had it with dinner. And so, yeah, I don't think with champagne, it really matters in terms of aeration. So I wouldn't like decant this. In older champagne, I would decant it. It might let it breathe a little bit. But for the purposes of what I would call, this is a fairly young champagne, it doesn't really make a lot of, to me, sense to decant it, but maybe I could be stand corrected by other people or other subscribers. Give me your views whether I should be decanting champagne. So I'm not using a regular flute. I'm just using a regular white wine glass. You know, the flute, from my perspective, again, The flute gives you more effervescence, so it gives you those nice bubbles, but it's generally accepted nowadays that probably for tasting purposes, the regular glass of white wine glass, or even a higher like Burgundy glass, is acceptable for champagne. It just allows the aeration to come out a little bit more. With the flute, it does focus your attention, your nose, a little bit easier, and also the effervescence is prettier. But also the disadvantage with that is that the surface area is smaller, so you're not going to be able to air the wine as much. So in this way, I treat this almost like a regular wine, and so maybe the effervescence, I can't see it as well, the bubbles aren't as pretty, but I think it's better for aeration purposes. So on this nose, it's got citrusy elements, a little bit of, it's peculiar because it almost reminds me of the smell of kombucha, quite frankly. It's got a little bit of orange peel and maybe orange flowery type components to it. But it's got almost a little bit of a vinegary, acidic smell, a slight yeastiness to it. So I would say unusual for some of the champagnes that I drink like Dom. I don't smell them as much. It doesn't smell like this to me. This is a little bit more on the lighter fragrant side and a little bit yeastier than higher end champagnes. Finish on this is quite nice. It is what they call extra brut. I'm more familiar with brut champagnes, and I actually like sweeter style, a little bit sweeter style brut champagnes. So this is unusual for me. It's different. It is drier, and by drier it means to me it doesn't have as much sweetness, and the acidic components of champagne come out a little bit more. It's not as creamy. I don't see those components. I see more acidic, vinegary, almost yeast type components to this, with some lemon, citrus, orange components to it. Yeah, I don't see creaminess. I don't see the body on this wine compared to some of the other champagnes that I've had. My score for this champagne is going to be 91. Let's say 90 points on this wine. Not that it's not a good quality champagne. It's just my personal preference is not the type of champagne that I really prefer. And maybe I don't like extra brut. But to me, I don't find this really dry. I just find it more acidic than brut wines. I find that component, the citrusy components, are take precedent in this, and I don't see the weightiness, which I like with other champagnes. But still a very excellent champagne. So I'm glad I had this. It's quite effervescent. I think it does need food, and this is a champagne that you do need to chill. So I did warm it up a bit, and it's definitely not as good for my palate if it's warm. And so, yes, this needs to be well chilled. Hope you've enjoyed this review. Until next time, happy drinking.